Let's move on to our extra point for the week then. I have certainly something I want to get into on the officiating side. But let's start off with, you mentioned this a little bit earlier with the Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce, 3 weeks into the season, looking A, incredibly old, B, incredibly slow, C, only 69 yards. He had more catches and more targets in week 3, and I think that was important, and maybe getting him into a rhythm. And maybe they think about him, he's a guy who we don't care if he performs in September through December, as long as, like he did last season, he turns up in January and turns up big. Maybe that's what he does again. But right now, Travis Kelce isn't good at football, which is the first time you've been able to say that for a decade. And I say this as someone who has a huge amount of respect for him. He's clearly a Hall of Famer. And then you layer on top of that all this nonsense. And I'm not talking Taylor Swift, and I really didn't even want to mention her name. But you get him doing this bow and arrow celebration, which does actually connect to Taylor Swift and her song The Archer, so I now have to mention it annoyingly. And the NFL weighing in, wanting to fine him, saying that it's a gesture which could be perceived as being violent. I think it all just ties into that background noise that he's now creating. And I don't know, the NFL, we know, is the no fun league. And when Drake London scores the winning touchdown for the Atlanta Falcons and shoots a gun in the air, I can kind of understand it. But taking aim at a guy for doing a celebration that everyone knows is tied to his girlfriend while he's already down and out, it all feels a bit much to me.
Yeah, I don't personally have much of a problem with that. I mean, it's been the no fun league for 2 decades now. This is what the NFL does. They penalize you for your socks. They fine you for this. They fine you for that. I have a problem with Travis Kelce right now. He is obviously talented enough. He will be in the Hall of Fame. He theoretically could turn it around next week. I just see somebody who you wonder where his true dedication is right now. He's somebody who could still have 1,000 yards. Like you perfectly mentioned, he could find it in time for the Super Bowl, in time for the playoffs. That's what he did last year. But there are all the retirement rumors in the offseason. Travis Kelce was all over the globe. Travis Kelce...
He was always going to come back and try the three-peat, though. There's no way that you don't go back and try him.
But that's not the point. Travis Kelce has 69 yards through 3 weeks. He's not very good right now. He's holding back the offense. How much longer can that go on in Kansas City? How much longer when you have the greatest modern quarterback of all time, the greatest quarterback since Tom Brady, you already have all these injury issues, you're missing all these weapons. Travis Kelce has to be better, and he has to prove to the Chiefs, to NFL fans, that football and winning in the Super Bowl is still his primary focus. He's not good enough right now.
And he is a guy who had 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He is a guy who is, I think, legitimately in the conversation for the greatest tight end of all time. Definitely the greatest pass-catching tight end of all time. I think if you're going to get into the football minutiae, I don't think he does enough of the rest of everything, which is why I think you have Gronk above him and a lot of the kind of legendary guys as well. But when you are that level of player, the expectations on you are incredibly high. And when you're not matching them, guess what? We're going to talk about you and we're going to say,
how it goes.
Come on, buck your ideas up, pull your socks up and do better, Travis Kelce. I want to talk about the officiating quickly in the NFL because there were at least 3 calls this weekend that were absolutely farcical to me. And yes, one of them is going to involve the Chiefs. And yes, that's going to get me more hate in the comments just like it did last week. Thank you, everyone who commented. Like it, subscribe, do all of that stuff as well. Dak Prescott is in the end zone. He is pulled down. He is maybe a foot off the ground with his knee, and he just does this little shovel pass forward. It somehow flukily ends up in the lineman's arms, and they don't call it intentional grounding. They don't say that this guy has very clearly attempted to throw a pass because he knows he's going to get sacked, he knows it's going to be a safety, and they spend an age trying to figure out what the actual rule is and what the nonsense is, and going, well, because it's a lineman, it technically means this, and that means it should. It took about 15 minutes. It was a complete and utter mess. Whereas the common sense thing was, the guy is half an inch off the ground, let's call it a safety and get on with it. The Cowboys are rubbish anyway. You have the issue in the Lions game where at the end of the half, it's a tight game, it's a one-score game, and at the 2-minute warning, Jared Goff snaps the ball and throws an interception. Pick 6. 6 points Cardinals, huge play. They're going to go in at least level, if not with a lead at the half, and suddenly, big swing. Instead, they say, oh, no, it was the 2-minute warning. We're blowing the play dead, it doesn't count. The replays very clearly showed that there was time on the clock when he snapped it. 2:01 on the clock. That should have been an inception. That should have been a touchdown. The Lions instead go down the field, score a touchdown of their own, and suddenly you have this 14-point swing. It's more lack of common sense officiating. It's another time when if they'd let the play out and then make the decision afterwards, we'd have had the right decision. And then we get the one in Sunday Night Football between the Falcons and the Chiefs, where Kyle Pitts is absolutely smothered in the back of the end zone.
Throw the flag. Throw the flag.
Just throw the flag. Just throw the flag. And if you throw the flag and then you look back at it and you decide to be common sense and you decide to pick it up, I'm fine with that. But you don't throw the flag and then you turn around and go, well, defensive pass interference isn't reviewable. So we've seen it. We definitely made a mistake.
And everyone
but we're not going to rule it.
And it was Michael Jordan rules. The Chiefs get that flag. Travis Kelce gets that flag. The Falcons didn't get that flag. That was very poor.
110%. And it all comes down to, I often defend the NFL when it comes to officiating. And I actually think when we look at VAR in the Premier League and the fact that people want to say that it's ruined the game here, I think you look at the way that it's controlled in leagues like the NFL, and as a general rule, the setup has been good. They know when to defer to the right people. They know when to take a look at the monitor. They also, by the way, sponsor the monitor and carry it out onto the field, which not only speeds up the process, but makes them money. How is the Premier League not doing that? I have no idea. But in the last few weeks, the officiating has felt completely nonsensical. It's like all common sense has gone out the window for the sake of looking like they're doing the right thing. And it's ruining games for me, and it's ruining outcomes of games when those people should be non-existent. I shouldn't care about them. I shouldn't see a guy in black or white for the whole game unless he's making an incredible run on a Justin Jefferson touchdown where he does a hip swivel and everyone's like, that's going to go viral. I don't want to see them throwing a flag because they're only going to make sensible decisions and therefore it's not going to affect the game negatively. That's my feeling. Anything to add?
I don't think it's been that horrible. I remember previous years where the controversies were much bigger. I feel like that the Falcons game, the way that ended in the end zone, that is a game-changing situation. I'm not sure the Falcons deserve to win that game. I don't think it's been that horrible thus far. I have a much bigger problem with the Dallas Cowboys and the Jacksonville Jaguars and some of these teams that should be much better and just are not. The refs are not causing the Jaguars to be horrible. The Jaguars are.
Look, we've got some sensational content coming for you this week on the talkSPORT End Zone channel. Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills are playing on Sunday Night Football. What a game that promises to be. We'll be speaking to players for both teams, so make sure you go and like and subscribe to the channel and you'll see those interviews first. But for the rundown, that's all from us this week. Thank you so much to Brian T. Smith. Excellent as always. And don't forget, if you want more of this, I told you how to do it. Go and subscribe to our brand new YouTube channel, talkSPORT End Zone. We'll see you next week.